Jaya Gaurani Jai Jai Gaurani Jai Jai Gaurani Jai Jaya Gaurani Jai Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Astodhara Satyashi Shivara Divine Grace Founder of Iskana Bhai Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam Ki Their Most Merciful Lordship Shri Shradhakunja Bihari Ki Shri Jagannath Shri Balaji Mahi Subhadra Ki Shri Nataji Shri Balagopal Ki Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Nitai Go Premanand All glories to the assembly. All glories to the assembly. All glories to the assembly. All glories to the Lord's feet of Shri Shri Guru. Go. That same ankle I sprained. When I sit on it, it helps, seems to help. I think I fractured. There's like 100 some bones in your ankle, you know that?
Wait.
Yeah.
108?
100 and some, I don't know how many.
Okay.
More than 100.
I'll see you in a little while, okay?
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Do you know which verse we're on?
37.
37 today. Okay, ready?
37. 38.
38. Narayanam Namashkritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayamadiraya Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naishtiti. Reading from Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7. Text 38 does not have a purport. I remember that. Krishna, let's see. Krishna is announcing to Arjuna that he promised Draupadi that he would bring forth the head and pillar of her sons. So now we go into text 39. Taraso vraditam papa atatyai atma bandhuha partuscha vipriyam vrira kritavan kula pamsana Taraso vraditam papa Atatai Atma Bandhuha Bartus Vipriyambira Kritavan Kula Pamsana Tarasavajitam Papa Atatai Atma Bandhuha Bartuscha Vipriyambira Kristavan Kula Pamsana. Tat, therefore, Asa, this man, Bhajatam will be killed. Papa, the sinner. Atatai, assaulter. Atma, own. Bandhuha, killer of sons. Bartu, of the master. Cha, also. Vipriyam, having not satisfied. Vira, O warrior. Kirtavan, one who has done it. Kula Pamsanaha, the burnt remnants of the family. Talasavajitam baba tatayatma bandhuha Bartuscha vipriyambira Kritavan Kula Pamsanaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. Abhay Charnadvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This man is an assassin and murderer of your own family members. Not only that, but he has also dissatisfied his master. He is but the burnt remnants of his family. Kill him immediately. You want to repeat this? We have another devotee attending class. We're on text 39, I believe. 38 did not have a purport.
We are on 42.
Sorry, what is it?
We are on 42.
Oh, we're on 42. Well, I'm glad you, boy, Deva Hari was way behind. Okay, text 42. So I already chanted the invocation. I read 2 verses already. You, okay, 42, we'll go through the word for word. Tatartam,
Tatatam,
Pasuvat,
Pasuvat,
Pasabadam,
Pasavadam,
Tatadritam, Pasuvat, Pasabadam,
Tatatam, Pasuvat, Pasavadam,
Avan,
Avan,
Mukam,
Mukam,
Karma,
Karma,
Jigupsitena,
Jugupsitena,
Avan Mukam Karma Jigupsitena,
Avan, Mukam, Karma, Jugupsitena,
Niriksha,
Nirikshya,
Krishna Pakritam,
Krishna Pakritam,
Guru,
Guru,
Sutam,
Sutam,
Niriksha Krishna Pakritam, Guru Sutam,
Nirikshya, Krishna Pakritam, Guru, Sutam,
Vama,
Vama,
Swabhava,
Swabhava,
Kripaya,
Kripaya,
Nanama,
Nanama,
Cha,
Cha,
Vama Swabhava Kripaya Nanama Cha,
Vama, Swabhava, Kripaya, Nanama, Cha,
Tataritam Pashuvat Pashabadam,
Tata, Ritam, Pashuvat, Pasavadam,
Avanmukam Karma Jigupsitena,
Avan, Mukam, Karma, Jugupsitena,
Niriksha Krishna Pakritam Guru Sitam,
Nirikshya, Krishna Pakritam, Guru, Sutam,
Vama Swabhava Kripaya Namamacha,
Vama, Swabhava, Kripaya, Nanama, Cha,
Tataritam Pashuvat Pashabadam,
Tata, Ritam, Pashuvat, Pasavadam,
Avanmukam Karma Jigupsitena,
Avan, Mukam, Karma, Jugupsitena,
Niriksha Krishna Prakritam Guru Sitam,
Nirikshya, Krishna Pakritam, Guru, Sutam,
Vama Swabhava Kripaya Nanamacha,
Vama, Swabhava, Kripaya, Namacha,
Jai Shri Radham Javyadi Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev Maya Subhadra, Jai Shri Gauranga. Tata,
Tata,
thus,
thus,
Aritam,
Agritam,
brought in,
brought in,
Pasuvat,
Pasuvat,
like an animal,
like an animal,
Pasabadham,
Asvadham,
tied with ropes.
tied with ropes.
Avakmukam,
Avakmukham,
without a word in his mouth.
without a word in his mouth.
Karma,
Karma,
activities.
activities.
Jigupsitena,
Jugupsitena,
being heinous.
being heinous.
Niriksha,
Niriksha,
by seeing.
by seeing.
Krishna,
Krishna,
Draupadi.
Draupadi.
Apakritam,
Apakritam,
the doer of the degrading.
the doer of degrading.
Guru,
Guru,
the teacher.
the teacher.
Sutam,
Sutam,
son.
son.
Vama,
Vama,
beautiful.
beautiful.
Swabhava,
Swabhava,
nature.
nature.
Kripaya,
Kripaya,
out of compassion.
out of compassion.
Nanama,
Nama,
offered obeisances.
offered obeisances.
Cha,
Cha,
and
and
Tataritam Pachuvat Pasaparam Avanmukam Karma Jigupsitena Niriksha Krishna Pakritam Guru Sitam Mama Swabhava Kripayananamacha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sutta Goswami said, Draupadi then saw Ashwatam, who was bound with ropes like an animal, and silent for having enacted the most inglorious murder. Due to her female nature, and due to her being naturally good and well-behaved, she showed him due respects as a Brahmin. Please repeat. Sri Sutta Goswami said,
Sri Sutta Goswami said,
Draupadi
Draupadi
then saw Ashwatam,
then saw Aswadama,
who was bound with ropes
who was bound with ropes
like an animal,
like an animal,
and silent
and silent
for having enacted the most inglorious murder.
for having enacted the most inglorious murder.
Due to her female nature,
Due to her female nature,
and due to her being naturally good and well-behaved,
and due to her being naturally good and well-behaved,
she showed him due respects
she showed him due respects
as a Brahmin.
as a Brahman.
Sri Srila Goswami said, Draupadi then saw Ashwatam, who was bound with ropes like an animal, and silent for having enacted the most inglorious murder. Due to her female nature, and due to her being naturally good and well-behaved, she showed him due respects as a Brahmin. Purport. By His Divine Grace, Abhaya Charanadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Ashwatam was condemned by the Lord Himself, and he was treated by Arjuna just like a culprit, not like the son of a Brahmin or teacher. But when he was brought before Srimati Draupadi, she, although begrieved for the murder of her sons, and although the murderer was present before her, could not withdraw the due respect generally offered to a Brahmin or to the son of a Brahmin. This is due to her mild nature as a woman. Women as a class are no better than boys, and therefore they have no discriminatory power like that of a man. Ashwatam proved himself to be an unworthy son of Dronacharya or of a Brahmin. For this reason, he was condemned by the greatest authority. Lord Sri Krishna, and yet a mild woman could not withdraw her natural courtesy for a Brahmin. Even to date, in a Hindu family, a woman shows proper respect to the Brahmin caste. However fallen and heinous a Brahmin bandhu may be. But the men have begun to protest against Brahma bandhus who are born in families of good Brahmins, but by action are less than Sudras. The specific words used in this shloka are Bhama Swabhava, mild and gentle by nature. A good man or woman accepts anything very easily, but a man of average intelligence does not do so. But anyway, we should not give up our reason and discriminatory power just to be gentle. One must have good discriminatory power to judge a thing on its merit. We should not follow the mild nature of a woman and thereby accepting that which is not genuine. Ashwatam may be respected by a good-natured woman, but that does not mean that he is as good as a genuine Brahmin. Om Gyanatamanandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshusha Militamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Wow. I am going to be in a position now, be giving my voice about positions being spoken of here of a woman. In a family, in order for a child to have his character broad enough to be able to know the punishment of the law and the mercy of the mother. So the mother can't change her own nature any more than a wild animal can change their nature. Same way a man can't change his own nature. And in order for a family to be able to have children that can be brought into the world with knowing loving kindness, the mother is there. So that quality that is in the mother, uniquely in the mother, to give the child the gentle, especially in its first forming years, that piece of flesh has been inside of her body, a part of her body. So she has a feeling for that soul, unlike any other living entity can have for that soul, the mother. When I was growing up, my aunt asked me, I forget how old I was, probably about 9, 10, maybe 11 or 12 or something, asked me to feed her son, my cousin, who was at the time close to maybe 2 years, 1 year, 2 years, I don't know, but you needed to be fed by the bottom. So there's something about having the means of giving this child what its body needs, but while the child is looking at you and finding such pleasure and satisfaction with that, there's a relationship created. Now, I could only, as a young boy, sense that to some degree of what a mother would be experiencing when she's giving from her own body what Krishna has given the mother the ability to give the child that the child needs. There's a very, very important factor about the fact that the mother can give the child the total nutrients its body needs with that milk for years. And that's all the child needs. Similarly, yogis in India who recognize this fact, in their later years, they take to just drinking milk. And they go back to drinking milk, passing golden stool. So, what we have to see in this verse, because it's not exactly brought out in the same wordage I'm putting it, because it seems to suggest here that women are unable to make judgments for punishment. And just look at how extreme you would think. This would be the most extreme suffering that it could cause a woman, is what he has just done to her. She's also, though, exhibiting, as a Brahmin herself, this quality of love, which real Brahminical qualification is love for Krishna. So if we love Krishna, then we have to love his virtuous laws of justice that he has. But the same, because Draupadi is equal-minded, and she sees the soul, which Brahmins are instructed to be able to see. Then the fact that he was ignorant, acting in the mode of ignorance, ashvatam. Ignorance, we could say, because he was not exercising according to the standards set by the laws regarding the war they were in, but also ignorant of the result his acts would bring upon him in the future. That is the big part of ignorance. And unless one is, now here's the thing, unless he is corrected, this is a soul that has engaged in an act that it needs to be deterred from. So how are you going to deter from the soul if you're rewarding it for what it did? So, but here is the thing that her motherly love does to Ashvatam. Because just think now, he's brought in front of a judgment of the court there, Krishna himself there, Draupadi's there, Arjuna's there, and she's showing him compassion as a mother. So this has to be weighing heavy on his heart as well. After all that's been said by the Supreme Person, Krishna himself, about how heinous an act this was, that he deserves to die, which would be a fulfillment of what Arjuna promised. He would allow Draupadi, after he himself cut his head off, to be the one that would step on his head. Right. But she's still showing this loving nature. So love is not something that is easy to control, or something that can be turned on and off by some kind of switch or some kind of word. Although simultaneously the word Krishna, just like the word Sri Radha, is not even spoken outright in the whole of Bhagavatam. Otherwise, Sukadeva Goswami would have, by entering into trance, he would not have been able to complete, because he is so dear and loved by Shrimati Radharani, and the two of them have that relationship. He is giving Bhagavatam, and know it has to be delivered in a specific time to Maharaj Pariksit and can't be interrupted. So he himself knows, but he does make references to subtly. Every time he talks about Krishna's internal energy and bhakti, this is Shrimati Radharani. So she can't be, her nature can't be changed, and she is love itself. So Krishna has chosen for love the completeness, the total embodiment of love. I want to say itself, because she is a person. Love is a person. Now, the Christian scriptures say God is love. We also hold that. But if you analyze the nature of love, we see that in order for love to manifest its nature, there needs to be two. Right? Love is not of its loving self. It's not loving itself only. Love is an outward going power and force that requires the reciprocation for another to be receiving it. So this is how Srimati Radharani and Krishna, in order for God to reveal the love that he is, would be by the revealing of the reciprocation, but she is also an extension of, say, melody, of the mind of Krishna. Now, just like we have a mind, Krishna has a mind, but the quality and characteristics of every aspect of Krishna's mind to be revealed requires a total manifestation in what we would call human form. So just like this morning I was looking, Lord Buddha needs some work on a finger. But Buddhi, the word Buddhi in Sanskrit means intelligence. So this is a tremendous statement as well when you think about it, that Krishna has revealed that intelligence in and of itself does not give the complete and total picture of what love is. So intelligence, so Lord Buddha, he brought ahimsa, which is nonviolence, much like Christ did, in order to remove the people who were practicing religiously, sacrificing animals without Brahminical qualification, so that the animals would be losing their bodies, rather than be getting a new body from the sacrifice, which these sacrifices that we have, we continue. The 4 processes that given in each age, we take part in all 4 of them. But in Satya Yuga, the process given is meditation. In Treta Yuga, the process given is fire sacrifice. In Dwapara Yuga, the sacrifice given is deity worship. And in Kali Yuga, the chanting of the holy names. And so we, being born in this time, are the most fortunate souls to be able to take part in all 4 practices, and for this age, as well as the fact that there are 9 processes, each of which contain within that general category called bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Vandanam, Dasham, Shakyam, Atman, Nivedanam, Vandanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasham, Shakyam, Atman, Nivedanam. So any one of these 9 processes can give the soul that perfects that process in their life a total love of God. They can become completed in love for God and manifest that the soul is longing to be able to reveal to the world. In a perverted way, people are looking for fame. But what do they want to be famous for is the thing. They want to be famous for being strong. They want to be famous for being knowledgeable about things in this world. What about love? Where does love come into any society in the world as a study? It's like there is none. And this necessary relationship, getting back to that with the mother and the child is really the truest form of love that soul can have as a foundation of its psyche, which, as I was explaining in Krishna's makeup, are total manifestations of complete personality. But within us, we manifest somewhat of these qualities to some extent. And there may be some of these qualities we don't even have at all. Some qualities I've learned not to ask for, like patience. Unless you want to wait for a long time somewhere, go right ahead. But you see, Krishna as well distinguishes what we are asking for when we come to him, what we are looking for, he puts into 4 different categories. And so then the highest category he puts human beings that come to him, that surrender to him, are those that are looking for him, to be completed in him and knowledge of him. But there are those who, out of distress, they lose everything. And see, Srila Prabhupada made ISKCON a facility for those also. And I have seen over the years, over and over and over and over and over again, these very souls that need Krishna. They need us the most. They need us the most. And no, we can't have, you're not good enough for us yet. You have to go prove yourself in a society that's already rejected them in many cases. And they've already lost everything and their faith in the society. And Krishna says, he himself is the one taking these things away from them because he knows they are the kind of soul that will turn to him under those circumstances. But then if we're not there, then what help is there? I used to answer a hotline. When I first became a Christian, I moved into a ministry, and we had a 24-hour hotline, which, as advertised, was if you're having problems, you know, thinking about suicide, you're having problems with addiction, drugs like this. Now, how great it would be for ISKCON to reach out like this. This is what Srila Prabhupada had the potency by his purity to be able to do, which we are lacking in because of our scope. Who do we want to join? Doctors, lawyers, you know, architects, scientists. Yes, these are the people we want to keep them where they are by their influence that they already have. Just like Srila Prabhupada, George Harrison approached Srila Prabhupada to be initiated, give it a name. Srila Prabhupada said, "You're already Harry's son." So he was seeing that position, and he didn't request George to shave his head even. Because that George had already achieved by his recognition by the populace, he was able to communicate his message was. All we need is love. Dun, dun, dun. That was one of the songs. It was one of their songs. And they moved me when I was young. In fact, first time I heard John singing the Mahamantra, I was thinking, my sweet Lord. I was thinking how sad it was that they could be singing such a beautiful song. Now this is my perverted consciousness I had in Christianity, because this is the way Christianity looks at every other Far Eastern, Middle Eastern group that comes to the United States as demons. I thought how sad it was, and I was crying at the beauty of the song and how beautiful they were singing. And if you listen to the mantra they're singing there, they're so full of wanting to please Srila Prabhupada. The voices come out so purely, it's just amazing song. But I thought it was sad that they could be singing such a beautiful song and still, because they didn't know Jesus, they're going to hell. And what is really sad is that people can hold that idea in their mind, much the same way I did. So you can see how, having been in that same situation, I feel towards people that hold that towards us, because I once did myself. So, in a person's psyche, the need for worship is there. The need for can we say, guidance from a higher, more knowledgeable, in the flesh, manifestation of the perfection we want to be. And this is what is being passed down by the parampara in this way. And it's built into the mother for the child to be able to get the love that they can't get from the father. When I was a boy, a father was the only one that had to work. And then there was money left over for investing, for spending on the weekends, for all kinds of things that families could do together, taking vacations once a year together, so many things. Now, it looks as though mother and father both have to work to pay the bills. Taxes are high. Insurance on the house is high. The house is high. The education to get the job to pay for the house is high. And still, there is not a man on earth that can show me a contract in which Krishna has signed to hand it over to them, saying, the earth is the Lord's. But see, we have set it up in our minds that it is ours. It is ours to take dominion over. Take dominion over the earth. This is a Bible quote. Take dominion over the earth. Well, we have dominion over so many things, but does that mean we destroy it? Does that mean we use it in a way that it wasn't meant to be used? That's what we're trying to get us all back to. Krishna consciousness is actually getting us all back to what purpose everything at one time was recognized as having. And when that was being done, then the whole society was experiencing the benefit that the earth as well was reciprocating. Now, there was a time we as well may have been giants. If we've lived through such a traded dwarpa and Kali Yuga before, which is very suggestive if we've taken millions of births, we've manifested over and over and over again. Animals, lions, tigers, bears, bees, birds. We've been all these forms. So now, this situation we have in can affect any one of those forms as well. Like I've said many times, even those forms we don't consider to be forms of life, inside of the pea pod, inside of the pea, is that creative life force that we once were ourselves as well. That by getting offered to Krishna is now on the path to becoming human form. So they get human form coming up shortly. It cuts short. But all those in the field that never get offered, taking the same birth, because devotees are rare. So there was a time when every plant that was planted was meant to be planted as an offering to the Supreme Lord. Every fire that was lit. In fact, we can go so far as to say what fires were being lit by the spoken word. Brahmins had the ability. What is it called? Agni Samanja or something. But the mantras are there. The time is coming. I really believe Krishna is going to restore it all. The real full meaning of golden age is going to be brought out by that which will be established worldwide when these teachings. Srila Prabhupada said it will only take 10%, once 10% of the population has hold of communication with Supersoul, and being guided by the Vedas, not being guided by speculative minds that have not reached the stage of self-realization, but those that have been given direct personal contact with the Supreme Person who gives full realization to those who have personal direct. This is what's going to be restored as well to Christianity. because the person who they're claiming to be following, being present on the planet, if the scriptures of the Bible are true, he will come to be the next emperor of the world. And if my realization of him is true, it's because he is also a son, brother to Maharaj Parikshit, son of Lord Indra. And you could say brother of, Parikshit Maharaj, Arjun. And see this act that those situated in the heavenly planets were having interactions with human beings. That may as well be restored. Right now there's a library on the inner earth holding Sanskrit verses and pastimes of Krishna. And this pastime of when they let out, what groups were let out to go into the outer world, and some were kicked out. This is this statement being written in the Bible of the people they call themselves the land of Israel. They were kicked out by their own statements. The offspring of their race of people were kicked out of the kingdom of God that was said to be the kingdom of God at that time by disobedience to what was being, how can we say, politely, just like a father would cover his own son's sins. Of course, the father, they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So the son is meant to be a representative of the father. So in the Bible, the one who has brought this Adam into existence is, of course, revealing by his activities with this person that he is of a loving nature as his son. Now, when he brought him into existence, he didn't know the means of procreating. And the statement being made to reveal that is, they didn't know they were naked. Now, you can't, the way procreation is being used today, the way they were brought into existence is different from the way people are being brought into existence today. And I would argue that the way we are bringing children into existence was when false ego, by the activity committed by those in that garden, learning a different way of bringing life into the world, by observation, called the devil, who we call Kali. Because that's where Kali is allowed. Kali inhabits where there is stockpiles of gold, he inhabits the gold itself. Where there's houses of prostitution. In effect, you could almost say he inhabits those who are engaging in those acts while they are engaging in those acts. Just like Super Soul. It's wanting to share consciousness with us. There are accounts of souls being infested with other living entities, sharing and forcing themselves into the body, usually in the form of demons. They also call this channeling. So it's also done as a latent ability, you might say, of the soul, that people want to challenge the saints of old. So this comes as an ability. You read the writings and then you can make sometimes spiritual advancement by reading what these souls are getting. Another example, Edgar Casey. Edgar Casey could absorb the knowledge in a book by sleeping on it. We take sleeping normally to be in the mode of ignorance. But he could answer a test given about the book, all the questions he could answer perfectly. So he also had the ability to know what kinds of things people should avoid in their diets and how to cure their bodies. Just imagine if everyone on the planet has these kinds of knowledges in completeness. See, all these people that were in the past looking to go to heaven, some of them had to go to hell. Devotees go to hell first, revealed. Yudhisthira, he had to smell hell. But he took that first, and then the rewards are endless from there on in. So, those that will be coming to the place they have so held on to all their life, the earth, will be transformed into that heavenly planet they are longing to get to by the Master they are calling Jesus Christ. But because they have displayed acts of ignorance in the name they have been given, that he himself didn't give them his own name. But just think like this. The world is going to be inhabited totally by geniuses at one point. What means genius? It's one using this body for the purpose it was created for. So when you surrender to Krishna, you're going beyond every other law that's created that has kept you bound up in its reactions all along. Karma, called karma. Because every activity now you engage in with the mind of pleasing Krishna, you are removed from that. Otherwise, that would be of a punishing nature mostly. A devotee looks at what is called good karma as also a means of staying here in the material universe. And we don't want to develop that idea. You see, just like they're coming back to this planet as a heavenly planet, even if it turns into the most heavenly planet there is, it's still contained within the material universe, which has, if you will read in Bhagavatam, just read it through from 1st canto to 12th canto, and you will see the universe, this whole universe is going to be burned up eventually too. And so Krishna is providing a way for us to get out the easiest way, the elevator. One button, push it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's the button. Push this. Krishna's a button. Because when he hears you chanting, he hears to himself non-different from his own flute playing. This is the conclusion of in Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sanatana Goswami, who is a personal associate of Lord Chaitanya, who is the avatar for this age to give the means, the easiest. See, we don't say everybody else going to hell because they don't know our way. No, we don't say that. But the easiest way. Singing a song, an eternal song, that will be there for you after this life, that is a sound vibration as well, that has been around since the foundation, the creation, from the very beginning the world was made. Krishna gave the science that is in Bhagavad Gita that we're talking about as the perfection of life to the person who is on the ruling seat of the sun. And knowledge to us of that as we meditate each day 3 times about the person who sits on that ruling position. Because he's ruling this universe, and eventually this planet again will be visited. Once it's turned into a heavenly planet again, then knowledge will increase. And knowledge of everything. So, even within Kali Yuga, those long-living beings, Ashwatam, who is the most heinous committer of crimes that we can see. Well, he's way up there. Is going to be made into a saintly person. And he's going to be a giver of this spoken word, of this Bhagavatam. But that's a long way, and that might not be for another 1,000 years or 5,000 years. But he's long-living soul. And now, he's long-living because of a curse. Some souls are long living because of a boon. The difference. There's an old series that I used to watch, The Twilight Zone, in which concepts were presented. This wasn't presented as truth, but Srila Prabhupada says you can't make anything up. These things that we think we are conjuring up for the first time because we've never seen them before, no, we're getting it out of past experiences that our minds have recollection of, that we are bringing back into our own psyche to recollect on. But this one particular episode was about a person who was in hell, who got there by thinking he was a gambler. And so he was thinking heaven would be winning all the time. And by winning all the time, he couldn't jump, he couldn't end his life. Nothing could go wrong. And he just died of, what you could say. For him it was hell. It was hell. It turned into hell because it became so monotonous. Nothing was changing. Nothing would ever change. Everything was just the way he wanted it to be. And then finally came to the point of realizing that it was hell he was in, even though he thought he was in heaven. And see, this is the problem with fighting wars to create a better environmental circumstance for the rest of the world. By destroying the world, yeah, we're doing that. And by destroying civilizations. And it is said that the power of the pen, so where does the pen get its power from but the spoken word? So this spoken word that we're reading from has the ability to do more good than all the swords and all the battles. So when we apply it, when we speak it, we liberate those souls that hear it just by speaking about it. John, I don't want to run over too much longer. I got started a little late, but we should end it here now. Any comments, any questions, any realizations? Anybody like to share something? Did everybody get a chance to experience Rath Yatra?
Yes.
Yeah. What? First Rath Yatra have you been to probably before many?
In that
You-
time, it's first Yatra.
Yeah. How did you find that Rath Yatra?
It was very good experience.
Yeah. Seeing people exposed to Krishna for the first time, and when they ask out of that sincere desire, to know, you see it in their face. It's like a new awareness. It's something
Yeah.
in the world that is like very important that they didn't realize was necessary to know about. And suddenly they've come to the realization that Krishna is important to know about, Especially you start reading this Bhagavad Gita and all the topics that Krishna himself is discussing. Then you realize he's answering all the questions we could have about what we want to, give our lives to. Any other realizations, comments?
What was the question you asked?
What was the question?
That you asked that he responded to?
Rath Yatra.
Yeah, what is that?
Festival of Chariots.
Okay.
Festival of
I
Chariots.
just didn't know, sir.
Rath Yatra.
No, I know now, but just the title, when he asked that anybody experienced it. So, I didn't know.
Rath Yatra.
Rath means chariot.
Chariot.
Yatra is like the
Procession.
like the journey. So the festival of chariots, another way of saying it is Rath.
When Lord Chaitanya was here, people had such faith that this is God. If they fell under the wheels of the chariot and died, they thought that would be most glorious. That was the mindset. They would walk 40 miles through jungle, tiger-laden jungle, to hear verses from these written on palm leaves, spoken by Vedavyas to Ganesh, that he wrote himself on, who is believed to be a legend, folklore. See, we have Krishna's own house that was here 5,000 years ago. He was 12 feet tall. All this is evidence. There's a king's castle in India, 10,000 years old, with all the histories of every year since on the walls. And so evidence that the earth is much older than quote-unquote Christians. Do you know Christian means like Christ? And where that term started getting used was by Muslims and Roman soldiers who were calling them that accusatorially, because if they were caught to be that, they could have their heads cut off, they could be crucified and such. So they didn't take it at first as a complimentary statement. Oh, you're one of those, aren't you? And Peter denied 3 times when he was accused by a Roman soldier. So because the Romans had such control that they were afraid of the Romans, the general public were afraid. And so,
question I want to ask you, because you just like me, we're both scholars of Christianity, and then converted over. So, the correlation, some question I asked Mama G here, why do we refer to the omnipotent source as a he in all denominations and spirituality?
that's his original form that is said to be these other energies manifest in these human forms are said to be part of Krishna's psyche, which they are eternally. But the form of Krishna that he refers us to, relating to, in order to go where he is, because he's in control in that place. He tells us, because the relationship he has with Srimati Radharani is not for another man to have. So it is for their safety as well that they are protected. It's an offense that they can commit against the holy name by speaking jokingly, by speaking disparagingly, or and they don't realize you get severe reaction. For parents who try to stop their children, this is where the strength was of one of the devotees I was collecting with, that at 16 years old, he was having to chant privately in his mother and father's basement so that they couldn't hear. Because if they found out, they would punish him, or they would try and stop him from doing that. But still, he loved rock and roll music. He'd get up at noon, listen to rock and roll music, and then go out and collect more than any of us could collect, because his heart was in the right place. He was doing it to please Krishna. And he got out of the chanting what everybody's supposed to get is a real connection with Super Soul, which is what Christianity is offering. But if they knew what that meant, and that therein lies the difference. They see homelessness as a weakness, whereas a soul who doesn't need a home and feels the world is his home can spend every night in a different place and not have to spend the same night twice in a row in your whole life. So it's a change of consciousness on what we look at as valuable. And our interconnection with faithful members that are coming to our ISKCON movement, their involvement with the professional world, they have to know takes a good part of their thought system from them. And there's no way you can surrender to the facility and the function that those societies or those organizations or systems or manufacturing companies, whatever you want to call them, are having to complete their function in society, but it's all a material energy. And the only way it can be turned otherwise is if that is turned into something that is directed towards Krishna. Doesn't have to be a complicated thing, doesn't have to be a big amount either. The amounts are prescribed by the Goswamis in their writings as to how much is required for family to be taken care of and for the proper tithing to be taken care of. It's all explained. So we don't have to have any questions unanswered.
The writings on the walls are those considered glyphs, like the hieroglyphics in Egypt.
Yeah.
So you're talking about are also known as glyphs.
Hieroglyphs, yeah. What about
India that was right? Are those known as glyphs?
glyphs? Yeah, that's what we're calling them, hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
They used to write, that used to be a form of writing, right?
Yeah.
Pictures.
They call it Maduna or Ari hieroglyphics.
And
That's what I was asking.
it has been explained to me that over time, people realized they need to become more specific because so many letters were misunderstood.
And they still are.
And they still are, yeah, even though we do have specific, yeah, we're,
Yeah. Did you hear about they use AI to how people say
reproduce?
not to reproduce, but it was a bunch of scrolls, papyrus scrolls that were burnt up, and they used the AI to,
Reconstruct? Really? Wow.
and it's supposed to be revealed real ancient text that never was able to be revealed before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a young guy that set it up, a young Caucasian male, and he had the AI break down the actual.
I don't know if this is true or not. I heard what these robots did in China. 29 people were killed. They destroyed the robots, didn't know 2 of them still remained, and the 2 that remained created more robots, more powerful than they are. This is what Elon Musk was saying we have to be concerned about it and worried about, actually. The machines, see, philosophically already, man is depending upon machines for his existence. You have to have a car to get to work. You have to have a telephone to communicate. You have to have a blender to make something to eat. You have to have, planters and harvesters and all these things now that man has become dependent on, basically. And it's all connection with the earth that could very well be directed all towards Krishna. And humankind be getting so much benefit for that. But when they have their eyes on profits more than anything else, it ends up backfiring because they are willing to sacrifice beneficial for financially, for financial benefits, financial gains. Any other comments, questions? Good to see you, Dominica. Do you have a set of Bhagavatams?
I have the Gita.
You have the Gita?
Yeah, I have the Bhagavad Gita.
God. Well, these are online and free. So do you have a computer?
I don't have a computer, but I have the Veda library.
There you go. Yeah.
And I use it.
There you go. Yeah. That's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
Now you can pick a search. If you want to find out what Srila Prabhupada says about such and such, you got a search engine in there. Type in the word soul, and every place the word soul is found. Be a description there. Either Krishna tells you what it is, Srila Prabhupada explains what it is. Be in a conversation with somebody talking about it. Amazing.
Prabhupada David gave me like 3 different sources for translating terms from the sacred text and
That's great.
Sanskrit.
That's
So
great.
so many interpretations.
That is wonderful. Now I got to mark this spot here because Dave gave me about 4 verses behind. We're going on 42. Or was it 42 today? Yeah, 42, so 43 tomorrow. Vivajaka Sahanti. Jai Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam. Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada.